Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I'm your host Ray, and my confused companion to my left or to my right, depending on where you're watching this, is Evy. And today, Evy,
Hello.
what are we looking at?
We are looking at everyone, everything, everyone loves each other.
They do.
Okay,
Kind
go
of.
ahead.
Okay.
I'll be good.
All right. So we're looking at a very confusing and obviously enormous film from A24. Uh, so let's break this down a little bit. So you watched most of this movie, I'd say about 80% of this film so far,
Yeah.
and you're going to watch the ending. So
Oh, yeah.
by natural default, we're not going to give away the ending because you haven't seen it yet. But so far, what are your thoughts on the movie, and just basically what is the movie about in the best way possible? Could you explain to that what is everything everywhere all at once?
Yeah. It's about a woman with a marriage that's not great. She's got like a daughter, um, and a daughter doesn't love her, and she just wants to be loved regardless of anything. Um, I it's a movie that yeah, it's very funny. Yeah, when I saw it, it was pretty good.
Hmm.
Pretty good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to break it down a little bit. I'll start off by
Okay.
saying what IMDb says, because to explain it, it's really difficult to explain what this is because it's not just one thing. It's
No.
categorically a bunch of different subgenres. Realistically, it's a sci-fi movie. It's a family drama. It's it, it's I don't know. It's the multiverse. Um, okay, according to IMDb, it goes like this: an aging Chinese immigrant is swept away or swept up in an insane adventure in which she alone can save the world by exploring other universes, connecting with lives she could have led. Which is how the multiverse in this movie kind of relates. So speaking of multiverse, we just watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm glad I saw that movie first before seeing this movie because it would probably influence or control how I would review the multiverse with Doctor Strange movie. How does that compare or differ from the movies?
Um, well, it can and it can't. It's about people that do stuff every day whose day can be good. It can be really, really bad. And it's about other people who have lives that aren't great and lives that are good.
Hmm.
So yeah, and some people survive it, some don't. Um, and um, yeah, some people, yeah, people have bad days. Some people have good days.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's all about people's and what they go through.
Right. Okay. Right. So, okay, how to start? So, there's a pretty big cast. I mean, it's led by Michelle Yeoh, sorry, who's known for like action movies. She was a captain or the head of Star Trek Discovery for a while.
Mm,
She's known for working with Jackie Chan movies. She's
yeah.
a great martial artist, and she's a tremendous actress. And she's the headpiece or the center point of this movie. She really holds this movie together. I think you can argue that this movie you could say it was designed for Jackie Chan because of the comedy in this, but she really is the center point of this movie, and it's a lot. I think in an interview she said that it almost broke her brain trying to comprehend the level and magnitude of this character Evelyn. So to explain this, she plays the character Evelyn, who is in a marriage to her husband Waylon, and they own a dry cleaning shop, and they got to going to the I guess it's the IRS to do their
Mm,
taxes, and the tax auditor is played by Jamie Lee Curtis. And so they're looking to expand their business by bringing all the receipts in, and they're experiencing some strife. There is a marital. I think they're going to get a divorce. There is some marital problems within the dynamic. Her father's coming to visit them. the, her daughter, they have a daughter, and though she loves her daughter truly, there's a communication gap between, I guess, a generational gap of acceptance. Um, how do you agree with that? Like, because you're seeing most of it, so like, how are you interpreting the part with her, the mother and daughter dynamic?
How would I what?
Like, how do you view the mother and daughter? Like, what's the relationship like in your best way? Can you describe the relationship between the mother and daughter?
It there there isn't really, like, the mother and the daughter are very not who does it. They don't love each other. The daughter's very selfish. The mother, she's stressed big time
Hmm.
as she wants to relax. Well, she can't because her daughter's very selfish in that she cares about only her what she wants, whereas the daughter wants to do what she wants, and and um and the um um, um daughter's very selfish anyway. That's kind of it, I would think, in a sense.
Yeah, the daughter wants to be heard. She the relationship between mother and daughter is strained. There's traditional values and old school mentalities that the mother has trouble breaking in order to adapt or trying to adapt to the ways of the daughter and her lifestyle. And there is a generational strife.
Hmm.
If you're I know people who are first, second generation, like immigrants. There's certain truths in what's happening between the mother and daughter, or with basically within the parent and the child dynamic. Um, Not being able to communicate certain things, especially for the Asian community in this particular instance. Has a universal undertones. It's not necessarily stuck to that culture. A lot of cultures have that kind of uneasiness to communicate, or adapt. Especially with the generational gap. I find too, with like my niece or people I know, how we learn in school and how they talk and communicate is different from what I've been familiar with. So things are lost in translation over the years and in styles and generations. Like I guess that's why they call it a generational gap. There are things that don't communicate well or lost. You know,
Hmm.
um, the film is more it's mostly a sci-fi film, but realistically it's a family movie at the core, and that's it's the glue that keeps everything together. um Wayland, who's played by K Kwan, I believe. Hang on, I got to say his name properly because I know it's K Kwan, but I will say it's sorry, K Hu Kwan or K Hu Kwan. I'm going to say his name wrong. Who plays the husband Wayland? You know who he's from? Does he look familiar to you?
Hmm.
Where do you know him from?
um he's from, I don't know his name, but I've
Mhm.
seen him in very good things that are funny, 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 funny.
Mhm.
Yeah, he makes me laugh. Um, and he is the father who's just trying to survive in his life.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's different. He's a poor guy,
Mhm.
he tries to survive, you know, um, and be number one in his life.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I think. That's it.
Okay.
He wants to survive and be happy in his wife and marriage, because he just wants to, he wants to survive in his little family.
Right, and that's what the Wayland number one is really is. I mean, that's the bubble in which we're living in. That's right, what Evelyn exists with. Wayland is visited by one of his multiverse counterparts, who invades him
Mm-hmm.
and then tells Evelyn, there is a nihilistic god coming to destroy you in the multiverse.
You're right.
But
Yeah.
in this version we're seeing, like we say, this is the prime world that we live in. Evelyn and Waylon are married. He's just very happy in his own existence, with going the laundromat and just trying to get through life as is, as you were
Yeah.
basically alluding to. Yeah, this film is layered. It's brought to you by the Daniels, who brought you Swiss Army Man, whose humor and um, intricacies and just basic visuals and concepts is a little different from everybody else. It's a little off, not off, but it's a little different from the norm. The special effects in here, I think, due to the pandemic, they were able to spend an extra couple of years working and really honing in the special effects and making it better, because it has a budget of $25 million, and you can see having that extra time to work on it, at home, to really boost up the quality of this movie is extraordinary.
Mhm.
Considering this movie made 4 times as much as the budget. It made over 100 million worldwide. It is the number one movie created by A24, like in terms of beating Hereditary, being the best movie, because it's just an incredible piece of work. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, this movie has, on the majority, it's probably one of the best movies produced successfully from A24. That's the company that produces it. A24 has brought you Moonlight, Hereditary, a lot of these really great films, artistic films that you normally can't get if you were just like watching the Disney movies or watching Sony films or Universal films. They bring you carefully curated films that are unique and always entertain you. Kind of like Pixar cartoons. There are cartoons whereas like they're not just normal cartoons. They actually affect your mentally, like in terms of your emotions, and they have a message to give you. Whether it's Toy Story is a classic example where it's just not about the toys. It's much deeper than what's there. It's much more than a surface cartoon. This is much more than being just a surface level story between family and time travel or multiverse, not time travel. Um, I like the movie. I found this movie completely complicated. It so a lot of it went over my head initially.
Mhm.
But given time to watch this movie, a lot of it came to me and sunk in. I have friends who are first or second generational immigrants, and
Mhm.
I can understand by knowing them personally and intimately that the family dynamic and communications lines of communications are very much real in this.
Mhm.
Being being born in the country whose parents are from abroad, I understand the connections between that too. So I can understand the Evelyn's point of view. I also understand trying to
Mhm.
please her father, played by James Hong, an amazing actor, and just cast. Or do you think it's more an action movie or comedy, or what do you think it's more of? Where do you think it leans more to?
Comedy, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, you can just relate to it. Well, a lot of it you can relate to,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there doesn't have to be a curse or anything like that. But like this movie is funny, funny. Like you just want to laugh at the end. It's
Oh, okay.
very, very, very fast. And yeah, you can relate to it, or a lot of people can relate to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I saw it almost the same way you saw it. I saw it as a family movie, but I saw it more as a drama. And the movie I connected this mostly to is a film like Hereditary, which was. Have you seen Hereditary by chance?
Yeah.
Okay, so Hereditary, for those who haven't seen it, is really a very strong, very, very powerful family drama movie about
Hmm.
grief and loss. Okay, very, very serious film, but it's wrapped in a horror film. It works even without the horror elements. It works like a great family drama. The horror element, which comes in the last act of it, just makes it just next level. Like it just makes it
Hmm.
insanely like powerful. This movie that we're talking about is to me a because the villain, which is like a nihilistic god, which basically when you throw everything at the centerpiece is this object at the middle, okay, and it's full of darkness. Basically, that's why I'm referring to it as a nihilistic god. It's nihilism is one of the major points to this. But the overall message to this movie is about lamenting on the things that you want and not lamenting on the things that you already have. And the drama for me is the relationship between the mother and the daughter, and I think that's at the core. And then everything else, well, it's funny using that word, everything else is what's attaching itself to that core, and it is bigger than life, which it is, because it gives you this technology that allows you to tap in to versions of themselves on different levels. And it's extraordinary because they explain how that works. There's a technology, and how they get to these little points actually makes sense, more sense than Doctor Strange, and it has more compelling arguments than the multiverse presented to you in the comic books or in other films, which makes this extraordinary. But at the same time, the movie is extremely dense. Almost, when I say dense, the density of it is like Stanley Kubrick's or Kubrickian workflow. Like the actual structure of this film is very, very thick. If you watch The Shining or any of Kubrick's films, they're very layered, and they're very well thought out. And there's always something within something within something that makes this movie or his films a very solid thing to digest. And you get the same thing with this movie too. So in that sense, this movie is like a 10 out of 10 because of style, because of the structure of it, and because of like what was going into it, special effects wise, as well as story. There's a lot to take in. The ending, I'm not sure if it's satisfying for most. It was sort of satisfying for me when you get to the ending, and so that we won't get into. But there's a lot to peel back to really acknowledge and examine the final product. Who do you think this would be good for? Like, what kind of audience do you think would this appeal to?
A comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I think people laugh at it. You can relate to it. Yeah, I would say like a comedy. Mm-hmm. That's what I think anyway. It's funny. It's funny, like very. I laughed. So anyway, yep, that's what I think,
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I had a good few laughs too. It's for me, it was kind of bittersweet, but I thought it was really good. I know for a fact that the audiences kept coming back into theaters to see this, similar to Top Gun Maverick. People who saw the film in theaters came back to it for different reasons, mostly, but it was still a film worth watching, regardless of where you were, whether it's a family dynamic or you're looking for a good action movie, because you'll get both. If you're looking for a sci-fi movie, you'll get that too. If you're looking for a movie that will stimulate you intellectually, as well as just putting your brain on standby, you'll get both. So I think this works on multiple levels and to various things. And to understand, I think when I spoke to you about this initially, I never got the name of the movie correct. I call it Anything Everywhere All at Once, Anything Everything All at Once, or whatever it was, until I saw the movie did it click. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And it's in 3 chapters as designed into the movie.
Right.
With that, I'm Ray.
And I'm Evy.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Was it tomorrow? Maybe. I don't know. Next week. What's today? Yeah. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.